Good morning and Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our congregation Beth-El Shabbat morning services. I am Rabbi Dennis Sasso, and I am joined on the bima by Cantor Melissa Cohen and Charles Manning at the organ. On this Shabbat morning, we celebrate a proud and happy moment and extend a mazel tov to our bar mitzvah, Beth-El Dorman, and to his parents who are on the bima with him, and to all the family who gather with us from afar, either by Zoom or by live stream, to celebrate with the extended Dorman, Rosenzweig, and Neil Hagen families. During the course of the service, Beth-El will be leading us in services, and along with Lee and Ryan, helping to make this Shabbat a special celebration in the long continuum of family here at Beth-El Tzedek. I'd like to direct you to the Beth-El Tzedek 613.org, BEZ613.org, for links to this morning's Shabbat service, prayer books, and other materials. We know that many of you would have wanted to attend this celebration in person, but given the requirements of social distancing, the limitations of travel, we are grateful for the virtual technology that brings us together. I'd like to extend a special thanks to our executive director, Sherry Lip-Levine, our communications coordinator, Jackie Goldstein, and Rabbi Jenny Greenspan, who will be keeping us all connected and interactive on this Shabbat morning, and to our Beth-El Tzedek staff for their technical assistance and for maintaining our facility above and beyond necessary safety protocols during these times. Beyond attention to these public health rules, we will overcome social distancing with the warm feelings of affection for our bar mitzvah and his family. I know that you are joining with us this morning from many different locations, from California, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Florida, Ohio. So we are Beth-El Tzedek without walls, reaching out to you on this Shabbat morning. And as I've said to other B'nai Mitzvah, Beth-El, this service will zoom by all too quickly. So enjoy the moment and savor the memories. Shabbat Shalom and Mazal Tov. We are going to begin the service by expressing our joy at coming together in this beautiful sanctuary with the words of Matovu, page 101, Matovu Ohaleha Yaakov. How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. Page 101, the cantor will introduce the service. We continue on page 103, and Beth-El will lead us in the Birkot HaShachar, morning prayers of thanksgiving for the beginning of a new day. Page 103 in the Lev Shalem prayer book.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan asek bivina lechavin ben yomi ben laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani bezalmo.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani ben chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Pokeach Ivri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumi.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asrimi.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kufufi.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Roka ha'aretz al ha'mayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamekein mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esali kol zorki.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Oter Yisrael b'tifra.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hanotein wa'ef koach.
Amen. Raphael continues on page 122. Baruch She'amar, a celebration of God's creative powers.
Baruch she'emar v'haya ha'olam. Baruch Osevet Bereshit.
Baruch Omer Ve'oseh.
Baruch HaOmer Ve'oseh.
Baruch Merachem al Haaretz.
Baruch Gozer Unkayim.
Baruch Merachem al Haaretz.
Baruch Merachim al Haaretz.
Baruch Merachem al Abriot.
Baruch Merachim al Habriot.
Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov Lireyav.
Baruch Mishalem Sachar Tovariyav.
Baruch Hayla Ad Vekayam Lanetzach.
Baruch Chayla Ad V'Kayam Lanetzach.
Baruch Pote Umatzil.
Baruch Podet Umatzil.
Baruch Shemo. We continue on page 148, and we invite you to rise your places as the cantor continues with the Hatzi Kaddish, page 148.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרדה.
Amen.
ויאמר דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי.
בחיי כל וביומי כל ובחיי כל בית ישראל. עגלה ובזמן קריב
ואמרו
אמן.
יהי שמירה במברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו להילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה
ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמא.
ואמרו
Amen. We turn to page 149 for the Baruch Hu, the call to morning prayer.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMelech, Le'olam Chayed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
Praise are you, Adonai, sovereign of time and space, who forms light and creates darkness, bringing harmony to all creation. We ask you to remain standing as we turn to the Shema on page 155, the affirmation of faith.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kevod Malkuto Leolam Vaed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבביך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם בבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה
Remember then to fulfill my mitzvot and be holy before your God. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God in truth.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
You may be seated as we turn in the prayer book to page 158 and invite you to join in the Micha Mocha, the words that Moses, Miriam, and the Israelites sang on their journey to freedom. Page 158.
שיר בחוקי עולים לשין מכה על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל כולה בעזרת ישראל, ובדי חינומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש קדוש לישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Hu, Baruch
גאל
Shem.
ישראל.
We turn to page 159 and invite you to rise again. We continue the service with the opening blessing of the Amidah chanted by the cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Eloi avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sahara, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, קונה לחסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
We hallow your name in this world as it is hallowed in the universe. From generation to generation, we declare your greatness and sanctify you in words of holiness. We continue on page 161 with the closing verse of the Kedusha, Ledor Vador.
Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Nagit God Alecha, Ulenetzach Netzachim, Ulenetzach Netzachim, Kedushat Chana Kedish, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Nagit God Alecha, Ulenetzach Netzachim, Ulenetzach Netzachim, Kedushat Chana Kedish, Veshiv Chacha Eloheinu, Mipinu Lu Yamush Leolam Aved, Ki El Melech Gadol, Ki El Melech Gadol, Vekadosh Ata, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Nagit God Alecha, Ulenetzach Netzachim, Ulenetzach Netzachim, Kedushat Chana Kedish, Baruch Atah Adonai,
We continue with the Amidah as we stand in silence, either to recite the traditional words of the prayer through page 166 or to offer the meditation that is in your own heart. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, Adonai, our strength and our Redeemer. May you who create peace in the universe bring peace to us, to Israel, and to all who dwell on earth. And let us say, Amen. We conclude with the words, Oseh Shalom, at the bottom of page 167.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imeru amim. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Please be seated. We will be turning to the Torah service momentarily, and the Shabbat We will be reading from Parshat Noach, the second Torah portion in the book of Genesis. And our bar mitzvah has prepared a teaching that he will share later with us during the service after the conclusion of this week's Torah reading. The portion contains, in addition to the story of the flood, the fascinating story of the Tower of Babel. And if you would like another learning opportunity on this Torah portion, we invite you to visit the Beth-El Facebook page, where you will find a video of Rabbi Jenny's Torah talk delivered earlier this morning. At this moment, we turn to page 168 for the beginning of the Torah service.
In kamocha v'Elohim Adonai v'in kema'asecha malachutecha malchut kol olamim u'memeshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai meluch לעולם ועד אדוני עוז לעמויתים אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. Everybody stand this way. Okay. And Rabbi's going to talk now. Nope. Rabbi's going to talk.
This is the Torah, Israel's covenant of truth and righteousness, transmitted through the long generations of our faith, from Moses to the prophets, from rabbis to disciples, from parents to children, and from the people Israel to the world. On this Shabbat, we continue this long chain of our tradition, as in the presence of his grandparents and parents, Raphael receives the Torah as he becomes bar mitzvah.
Both give to Beth-El. And just give to Beth-El. Yes, sure. And then Beth-El, come forward. Right here. Over here. And right in front of the microphone. Shema, Shema, Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai. Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Okay, Ryan, you're going to return that to the wall. To the wall. Go ahead. And you all, back to your seats. And you all are going to get the towels ready to the front. Okay, so go with Mom to the front. Lech lecha to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place I do not know. Lech lecha on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lech lecha.
I put on the tally as a reminder that I now become a responsible member of the Jewish people. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshani b'mitzvotav v'tzivani lohit atef bat tzitzit.
Raphael, you have so much kindness in your heart and soul. It shines as Dad and I have seen you grow up. Your curious, positive, and brave spirit is admirable. You encourage us to push ourselves to do things that we didn't think you could achieve. On our recent hike at McCormick's Creek, you encouraged me to climb a steep boulder area. When I thought, I'm gonna fall, it was your kind words of encouragement, saying you can do this one step at a time, that put the hope and determination into my steps to get to the top. I love your brave spirit. It is infectious to those that are with you. Your ability to lead with a natural feeling that others want to do what you suggest amazes me. You led your scout troop in a biking and camping weekend a few weeks ago. You were brave to step forward and lead a large troop in coming together and achieving the goal of safely riding over 10 miles. Your careful planning of how to get over 30 scouts of all abilities to do this was not easy, but you wisely accepted the help of your mentors in the troop to guide you in planning those details so that your big ideas could happen. You had the confidence to lead, and every scout and adult felt good about themselves in achieving their personal goal of riding that longer bike ride. But I have to say that your plan for having Bub's ice cream that happened to be at the halfway point was a huge motivator. Today, it isn't about mastering Hebrew or reading the entire Torah and half-Torah portions, knowing it all. It is about learning, and it's about growing and feeling good about yourself. You worked so hard. Preparing for this day was not the easiest process for you, but you kept working on it every single day. With the help of Cantor Melissa, Rabbi Dennis, Rabbi Jenny, and a lot of help from Dr. Tracy Mishkin, you learned your maftir, haftarah, and the prayers. You gained confidence in yourself, which is a joy for me and Dad to witness. Your journey of exploring Judaism and how it has led to connections in your personal life is growing. My hope is that you will feel one more connection to prayer, people in the community, every time you pray or go to synagogue. Look around the room, Raphael. Today, you have your grandparents, rabbis, the cantor, us, your brother, and everybody here on Zoom, teachers, friends, and family coming together to support and encourage you. They are here to mentor you and believe in you. They are great role models to have in your life. I know it will be soon that we can all be together in person and have a powerful moment that the world is back to normal. In the meantime, stay with the hope and the positivity that it will be. Keep the kindness in your heart as you lead and encourage others you encounter. We love you so much.
I don't hear much, but when he did those morning blessings, he said the word koach, and I heard that word, and it means strength. So you gave us all strength there, and you did a wonderful job on those morning blessings. I'll always remember that. That'll be your blessings. So, Raphael, you're going to have a great story to tell your children on how you were bar mitzvahed. You're doing a wonderful job. Every day, you and your mother, patient Tracy Miskin or Cantor Melissa would study and practice reading from the Torah in our house, on the phone, and Zoom to get to this moment where we can come together from the four corners of the earth. Really remarkable. It's a transcendental moment for all of us to hike up these 7 steps of the Bema. Even though the sanctuary is empty, it feels like we are out Mount Sinai. The summit of Grand Tetons, we've been there. Acadia, or the top of a Lake Michigan sand dune. That's what it feels like. You went to Sunday school, Shabbat, holidays, Hebrew school. I remember what you said in our parent-student class with Rabbi Dennis. He asked, "What does prayer do for you?" You remember?
No.
You said, "It's relaxing." I just thought that was such a meaningful observation that can help everyone mentally every day. It's a great mitzvah to read and learn from the Torah, and I know you will reflect on this day years from now and get a special meaning. Do you have a meeting today?
Oh, my bar mitzvah.
Okay, well, it meant a lot more to me years from now. I couldn't even, so. While I can't visualize who Noah was 4,000 years ago, I'm putting your name on this portion of the Torah because his family was a lot like all of us. A scout, a leader, an explorer like you, a dreamer like me, daydreamer, a navigator like Mom, a comedian like Elia. He was prepared too, probably trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. You know those speech? Remember that? Okay.
Yeah.
In the event, if this event were to happen today, it would be like Meemaw and Peepaw. If this event were to happen today, Meemaw and Peepaw would go and rescue all the dogs. If the flood were to happen today, how would you feed the dogs? You know, clean up, that would be a lot of stuff, and cats, okay. Bubby and Saba, to be prepared, they would bring the New Jersey blueberries to make us, since the buffet would be closed. There'd be no buffet on this ship. So sorry. Then Tati and Pierre would be excited to think we're going on a luxury cruise for 40 days. L'chaim, Mazel Tov, we love you. Congratulations. Hugs. Everybody hear me?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lee and Ryan. You go now to the Torah table, and we ask Raphael to come back and be seated here. We are going to turn to the reading of the Torah for this Shabbat morning.
So Raphael, you're going to sit down.
And we invite you to turn in the Eitz Chaim, which you can also access through the virtual resources, to page 46. And we are going to be reading from chapter 8, verse 15 in the book of Genesis. And the first aliyah goes to Mom and Dad, Lee and Ryan Dorman. We're reading from Parshat Noah, the story of Noah. Page 46.
You can do that the blessing.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach, Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Elohim el Noach lemor tzeh min hateva ata v'yishtecha uvanecha unshivanecha itach kol hachaya asher itkah mikol basar ba'of ubabhema uvechol haremes haromes al haaretz hayotzeh itach V'shartu v'aretz uvaru v'ravu al haaretz v'yetzeh Noach uvanav v'yisho unashivanav ito kol hakaya kol haremes v'kol ha'oh kol romes al haaretz lemishpechotehem yatu min hateva.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ya'amot sheini.
For the second aliyah, we invite grandparents Susan and Arthur Rosenzweig, who will recite the blessings from the stand. And we are now on page 49 at verse 20.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayiven Noach mi'ezbeach la'Adonai vayikach mikol habema haTorah u'mikol ha'of haTahor vayaholot b'mizbeach vayara Adonai et reach hanichoach vayomer Adonai al libo lo osif lekalel lot et adama bavor adam ki yetzer lev adam ra min urav velo osif od lehakot et kol achai kasher asiti od kol yamei haaretz zera vekatzir v'korvachom v'kayitz v'choref v'yom v'layla lo yishbotu. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נותר בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
Amen.
יעמוד שלישי.
For the third Aliyah, we invite grandmothers Sharon and Deborah, and we acknowledge the presence of grandfather Fred Dorman, who cannot be with us today. Chapter 9, verse 1.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher barcha banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayevarech Elohim et Noach et banav vayomer lahem peru orvu umil'u et haaretz ומוראכם וכיתכם יהיה על כל חיית הארץ ועל כל עוף השמיים וכל אשר תרמוס האדמה וכל דגי הים ביתכם ניתנו כל רמס אשר הוא חי לכם יהיה לאוכלה כירק עשב נתתי לכם את כל בשר ונפשו דמו לא תאכלו ואך את דמכם לנפשותיכם את ראש מיד כל חיה את ראשנו ומיד האדם מיד ישתחרר את ראש את נפש האדם שופך דם האדם באדם דמו ישפך כי בצלם אלוהים עשה את האדם ואתם ברו עורבו שרצו בארץ עורבו Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'totenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ya'amod Revi'i.
And joining us for the fourth Aliyah, all the way from Cincinnati, our aunt and uncle, Melissa and Brad Wittenbaum, with cousins. So we will make sure that they're connected and recite the blessings. Hey, Melissa, I remember your bat mitzvah and your wedding, guys. Welcome.
We're ready when you are. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim el Noach v'el banav ito lemor v'ani hineni mekim et beriti itchem v'et zarachem acharechem v'et kol nefesh hachaya asher itchem ba'of b'bema v'chol chayat haaretz itchem mikol yotzei hateva lechol chayat haaretz v'akimoti et beriti itchem v'lo yikaret kol basar od mimei hamabul ולא יהיה עוד מבול לשחט הארץ. Go ahead.
Amen.
Ya'amod Chamishi.
And for the fifth Aliyah, joining us from Allentown, Pennsylvania, Uncle Brett Rosenzweig.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vahed.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim Zot ot habrit asher ani noten beini uvehinechem uvehin kol nefesh chaya asher itchem ledorot olam et kashti natati banan v'haita lehot berit beini uvein haaretz v'haya be'anani hanan al haaretz ונראתה הקשת בענן וזכרתי את בריתי אשר ביני וביניכם ובין כל נפש חיה בכל בשר ולא יהיה אות המים למבול לשחט כל בשר והייתה הקשת בענן וראיתי הלזכור ברית עולם בין אלוהים ובין כל נפש חיה בכל בשר אשר על הארץ ויאמר אלוהים אל נוח זאת אות הברית אשר הקימותי ביני ובין כל בשר אשר על הארץ. ברוך.
Amen.
Ya'amot Shishi.
And for the sixth Aliyah, continuing on verse 18, we invite through Zoom, but locally, Aunt Amanda Vila and Uncle Evan Dorman, whose B'nai Mitzvah I also remember. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vayed. Amen.
Amen. ויהיו בני נוח יוצאים מן הטבע השם וחם ויפת וחם הוא אבי כנען שלושה האלה בני נוח ומאלה נפצה כל הארץ ויחל נוח איש האדמה וייטע כרם וישת מן היין וישכר ויתגל בתוך האהולה וירחם אבי כנען את ערוות אביו ויגד לשני אחיו בחוץ ויקח שם ויפת את השמלה וישימו על שכם שניהם וילכו על כרנית ויכסו את ערוות אביהם ופניהם אחורנית וערוות אביהם לא ראו.
Amen.
Ya'amot Shvi'i.
And for the seventh Aliyah, Raphael would like to invite everyone on Zoom to recite the blessings from your places. It would be a good idea to be all muted. We know that you're reciting the blessings, and we'll give you appropriate time. The cantor will kind of lead the blessing and then lead into the reading of the seventh Aliyah, beginning at verse 25. And while we prepare for that blessing, I'd like to ask everybody to think, what animals may Noah have been very hesitant to invite onto the ark? What animals would Noah have been very hesitant to invite onto the ark? So we continue with the 7th Aliyah at verse 25.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim venatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayiketz Noach miyeno, vayeda et asher asa lo beno hakatan, vayomer arur Canaan Eved avadim yeh le'echa, vayomer Baruch Adonai Elohei Shem v'hi Canaan Eved lamo. Yahaft Elohim ela yefet vayishkon be'ahol Shem v'hi Canaan Eved lamo. Vayechi Noach achar hamabul shalosh me'ot shana v'chamishim shana. Vayehi kol yamei Noach tesha me'ot shana v'chamishim shana v'hayamot.
And together the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So while Cantor Melissa sets the Torah to the maftir, or Raphael, what is the answer to the question? What animals was Noah very hesitant to bring into the ark? I would say it was the termites and the woodchucks. So he was very concerned, but he wanted to save them too. So he brought Dr. Fauci, and he talked with them, and they put on masks throughout the 40 days, and they did no harm. So everybody behaved in the ark. We turn now to the reading of the maftir, as the cantor calls on our bar mitzvah. And the reading for the maftir may be followed. And verse 29, chapter 11.
Okay.
Ya'amot ha'bachor Raphael ben Ruven Yaakov v'Leah Tzipora bar hamitzvah maftir chasak.
Okay, so Raphael. The blessing before, and then
Page 62, beginning at verse 29.
blessing after. Nice and loud.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayikach Avram ben Chor Lechem Nashim Shem Eshet Avram Sarai V'Shem Eshet Nachor Milka Bat Haran Avi Milka Va'avi Iska Vatahi Sarai Akra Ein Wa'avalad. Vayikach Terach et Avram Beno V'et Lot ben Haran ben Beno V'et Sarai Kalatel Eshet Avram Beno Vayetzu Itam Me'or Kastim V'lechet Artsa Canaan Vayavou Ad Haran Vayeshu Shem Vayahu Yume Terach Meshanim Yume Tayim Shana Vayamat Terach Becharan.
And then the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And we are going to rise as the cantor raises the Torah scroll upon conclusion of the reading.
B'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael
Al pi Adonai.
b'yad Moshe.
You may be seated. Beth-El will now chant for us the Haftarah for this Shabbat, a beautiful passage from the prophet Isaiah that you may follow in the Eitz Chaim Torah commentaries at page 65. Page 65, Isaiah 54.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'im tovim ratzah v'divreihem hana'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habacher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo Uvim v'ha'emet v'tzedek Roni akra lo yada Pitzchi rina V'tzahali lo chaloi Ki rabim b'nei shomema Mibnei ve'uwa Amar Adonai Harachivi miko'om ohote'ech V'riot mishkenatayich yatu Al taksoki ha'ariki metaraik v'tedatai hazeki ki yamin usmol tifrotzi v'zarech goyim gira'ash uvarchim neshamot yoshivu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zerkol ha'el mim sadik b'kol hadarot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'eseh hamdaber u'kayim shekol devarav emet v'tzedek ne'eman atahiu Adonai Eloheinu ne'eman devarecha v'davarecha midvarecha achor lo yashiv rikam ki el melech ne'eman V'rachaman atah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'ne'eman v'kol devarav al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu u'kedusha v'nicha v'ktivot u'tifaret Al hakar Adonai Eloheinu nachim edim va'ach umvarchim ohote'ech yitbarach shimchei b'fei kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mikdushat ha'shabbat.
Amen. Siman Tov?
Siman Tov, Mazel
Siman
Tov.
Tov.
Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov,
Mazel Tov, Siman Tov. Israel.
Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, We return to the Torah scroll to the Ark, continuing on page 183. Please be seated. It is now my pleasure to invite our Bar Mitzvah, Beth-El Dorman, to share with us his own thoughts on the meaning of this day in his life and some teaching on the Torah portion that he has chanted for us today.
My Torah portion is called Noah. It has become one of the most famous stories in the Torah. The people in the world at the time were all doing awful things, and God sent a flood to start over. Noah was a righteous person, so God decided to save him and his family. God told Noah to build an ark. Take 2 of each animal onto the ark with him during the rains until the flood ended. Noah, his wife, and their children were together in the small enclosed space of the ark without any other people 40 days and 40 nights. The time that Noah and his family spent alone in the ark reminds me of our own quarantine this year, where we've only been for family and not out and about like we normally were. It was probably boring to be stuck for 40 days on a boat. Noah would have stayed in the same place for it seems like forever. It felt that way for me at first too. But unlike Noah, I've been able to access the internet and go outside sometimes, or go on to trails or bike. I've also found ways to connect with other people virtually with Zoom and texting. My quarantine is mostly with my family, but I'm lucky not to be as long as Noah was, even if mine has lasted longer than 40 days and 40 nights. During this quarantine, Noah must have learned how to occupy himself and how to get along with his family members. He learned how to tolerate others' actions when he's around his family all the time. I have also learned how to spend my time at home and how to get along with my family better. I have learned to find the light in life and the hope by enjoying talking to family and friends. We also learned to care for and to support one another. I would like to thank all the people who helped me support me in getting here today. Thank you, Rabbi Dennis, for leading the services and for corner jokes that make me laugh. I would also like to thank Rabbi Jenny for helping me write my speech and leading the services. A big thanks to Cantor Melissa for helping me with all my blessings and singing them. A huge thank you to Dr. Mishkin for being patient and helping me learn my Haftorah and Torah. I could not have done it without your guidance. Thank you, George Kelly and the teachers at the BJE and Sunday School for helping me to learn Hebrew and stories about my Jewish ancestors. Thank you to all my grandparents, Tati, Papa, Bubby, and Saba, and Mima, and Papa, for supporting me and always being loving. Tati, thank you for teaching me to always be kind and have good manners. Papa, you have shown me what hard work looks like. Bubby, thank you for helping me to be motivated and listening to me practice on many video chats. Saba, thank you for always taking the time to play board games with me. Mima, you have shown me how to love animals and care for them. Papa, thank you for taking me fishing, even though we really never caught a fish. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for encouraging me with Torah studies, and also for encouraging me when I didn't always want to practice. Thank you for always being very loving and caring. Thank you to my brother Elliot for always egging me on to study so you could play video games without me complaining on his turning list. And finally, I know I said a lot of thank yous, but a special thank you to everyone for tuning in on the Zoom and on live stream. I hope to see you all soon in person when it's safe. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Well, Raphael, the pride and the joy in this room is palpable. Grandparents, your brother who looks up to you, parents, the rabbis in Cantor are so pleased to share this moment with you. And of course, this moment is part of a long history in your family's life. Among the founders of this synagogue were your great-great-grandparents, Jack and Sarah Goodman. And I fondly remember your great-grandparents, Sylvia and Maury Katz, who can forget Maury, and Bob and Dorothy Dorman, who sat in the very front row of the High Holy Days Sanctuary for the High Holy Days. They were the first to arrive, and Bob was the last to leave. And your mom has brought the Rosenzweig family line and traditions to enrich our synagogue. Your mom's rabbi was Rabbi Bruce Aft, a good friend of mine. So we are connected, and Judaism and Beth-El Tzedek are part of your spiritual DNA. I remember your dad's bar mitzvah, and I brought you a copy of the picture of his bar mitzvah in the bulletin.
He had hair.
He had hair. He wasn't wearing a mask. He was so handsome. Still is. So we also have a picture of his confirmation class. So it happened that he became confirmed the same year as our son David became bar mitzvah. So this is for you to put in your bar mitzvah scrapbook. Raphael, Judaism is a very important part of your family's journey, and I know that your and Elio's Jewish education have become a part of your parents' continuing love and commitment of Judaism. Judaism is a journey, and like every journey, it has a planned itinerary, and then also some unexpected side trips like we are experiencing right now. Your Torah portion of Noah tells us of a journey on a big ark during an unexpectedly turbulent time. And while being on that ark may have been sometimes scary and sometimes boring, Noah learned something. He learned to take care of others, to take care of the animals. And according to Rabbi Sandy's book, Naamah, his wife, took care of the plants. Noah and Naamah learned about responsibility for others and for the earth. And then he emerges to be the ancestor of a new humanity, the bearer of hope for a new world. And the rainbow becomes that symbol of hope of a new humanity striving for harmony and for peace. During our recent conversations, you told me that you enjoy doing many things, band, sports, and Boy Scouts. You said that what you enjoyed most about being Jewish was connecting with others and being who you are. What a wonderful description of Jewish responsibility. Being happy and connected with others, and at the same time being at ease with yourself. It reminds me of the teaching of the great Rabbi Hillel, who said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am for myself alone, what am I?" And I asked you about what you would like to do to help make a difference in the world. And you simply told me you want to be a generous person who can bring happiness to others. I think you've got a plan. The name Noah means comfort. And if we spell it backwards in Hebrew, it spells the word chen, which means kindness. Beth-El, I think that these are both qualities that your parents and your family see in you. Comfort and kindness. So I know that you will continue to model these values and to live up to the teachings of your Torah portion. And for your parents, Lee and Ryan, along with your grandparents, Debbie and PA, and Fred and Sharon, and Arthur and Susan, this is, as I said before, a moment of great pride, with good reason, for the young man that you are and the example that you set for Elio. I asked your mom and dad to tell me something unique about you, and this is what they said. Raphael is calm, brave, and cheerful. He enjoys the journey, and he is present in the moment. So Raphael, there is an exciting journey ahead. Follow the rainbow. Enjoy each moment along the way as you remain calm and brave and bring cheer and hopes to others. We are very proud of you and happy to celebrate this moment with you and your family. Mazel tov. I'd like to offer a prayer of blessing on your behalf using your beautiful Hebrew name. משברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה ויברך את רפאל לב בן ראובן יעקב ולאה ציפורה אשר עלה לקריאת התורה וההפטרה לאות הבעת רצון לחיות חיים ראויים לבן ישראל. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Raphael, Louis, Dorman, who have been called to the reading of the Torah and the Haftarah, in token of your desire to live a worthy Jewish life. And may God, who was with you from birth, continue to be with you, that you may grow in health and in strength, in wisdom and humility, in love and loyalty, in faith and in courage, that you may ever be a joy to your parents, an honor to your people, a credit to your country, and a true servant of God. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to invite you and your family and all who watch to recite the Shehecheyanu, the prayer for times of joy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'higiyanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Amen. Blessed is the eternal God who has given you health and strength and brought you to this day. And with your parents' arms around you as you are right now together, I'll offer the prayer for a life of health and joys and peace. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God be gracious to you and show you kindness. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God look in favor upon you and give you a life of health, of joys, and of peace. Amen. Mazel tov. You may kiss the bar mitzvah. Kiss through the masks. Wonderful. So I'd like to invite mom or dad, whoever is closer, to go and take that little bag that is there. And that is for Beth-El for the journey. Inside there you will have many of the tools that you need. You can use it as a backpack for your Boy Scout outings. And there you have the Jewish tools of survival. Text of the Torah for continued learning, a prayer book for deepening your spiritual Jewish life, a tzedakah box for continuing your family's generous lifestyle, and there's a gift from the Jewish Federation and expressions of Mazel Tov from the rabbis and the cantor. We're very proud of you and delighted to celebrate this day with you and with your family. Mazel Tov. So we invite you back to your seats. And we are going to turn to the Aleinu on page 205. We ask you to rise.
ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
and those who observe the yortzeit of a loved one to remain standing. The mourner's Kaddish may be followed on page 207. On this Shabbat, we honor the memories of those who have died in recent days and weeks. Frida Paris Sanders, Alice Berkowitz, Margaret Peg Romano, Gloria Friedman, Herbert Bolshever, Emma Juliet Krause, and Douglas Perry. We keep them in our hearts alongside those for whom we mourn, those the anniversary of whose death occurred during the last week. We notice the anniversary of the death of Rabbi William Greenfeld, beloved spiritual leader of this congregation, who served the synagogue from 1946 to 1960. The memories of our loved ones live on in our hearts and in God's care as we say together, Yit Gadal ve'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. בעולמה דברה קראותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen. May God, the source of peace, grant comfort to all who are bereaved, peace to Israel and to all humanity, and let us say amen.
Amen.
You may be seated, and it is my pleasure now to call on Zoom our officer Dan Resnick, who will extend Mazel Tov and greetings for the board and the congregation.
Thank you, Rabbi Dennis, and good morning. On behalf of the board of directors and officers, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our Shabbat morning services. First, Mazel Tov to you, Raphael. I'm doing a fantastic job this morning leading our services, chanting your Torah after our portions. As Cindy said last night, we're all doing a great job today. We did not miss it. I'd like to extend a Mazel Tov to your family as well. To your parents, Brian and Lee Dorman, to your grandparents, Arthur and Susan Rosenweg, Deborah and Neil Hagan, and Fred and Sharon Dorman, as well as your entire extended family who was able to join us this morning via our live stream at Zoom. It was great to see everyone participating. A few quick announcements I'd like to share. Our adult education classes are continuing tomorrow, Sunday morning. Our Hebrew 1 class is at 9 a.m. with Dean and David on Zoom. And our Refreshing Judaism class with Rabbi Dennis is at 10 o'clock, also on Zoom. Cocktail Judaism is coming back. It's beginning again on Monday, November 2nd. Conversation on the 2020 elections. Join our host, Rabbi Dennis, and moderator, David Sklar, who's the assistant director of the JCRC, along with a panel of community leaders for what will no doubt be a very lively conversation. I'd like to also remind you of the Beth-El program, Spirit and Place. It's the origins of creativity, channeling creative under constraints. That will be Monday evening, Monday, November 9th at 7 p.m. The program will feature Dr. Larry Einhorn, Jonah Taft of the Harrison Art Center, as well as Rabbi Dennis Sasso, and will be moderated by Rabbi Sandy Sasso. As always, please visit the Beth-El website for Zoom links and other online resources. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, David. I want to understood what you just said about
Dan,
the
you called him David.
program. What did I say?
You called him David.
Oh,
That's his
Dan.
dad.
Thank you, Dan. His father was also a past president of the synagogue. So I heard you say about the program, The Origins of Creativity, and you said Dr. Larry Einhorn and John Taft, and also Rabbi Dennis, who will be moderated by Rabbi Sandy. Was that the implication, that only I needed the moderation? Yes, he's saying yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you all for coming and celebrate with us. We're going to close the service with the singing of Adon Nolam, and as we do that, we are going to invite Raphael and his parents and the family who would care to come up and stand behind the computer so that you can see at the end of the service all the people who will zoom in their good wishes for you. So let us close the service with the singing of Adon Nolam, page 211.
And stick around for the end. There's a video montage, right? Adon olam asher nalach b'terem lekol yetzir nivra rit nasa v'chetzo kol azay melech shemo nikra הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה בידו אפקיד רוחי ויתישן ויגירה ועם רוחי יביאתי
We ask you to stay on Zoom for a family montage celebrating this young man's career to this point, and we invite the family to come and stay on after the little video of memories for your good wishes to Raphael. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and Mazal Tov to our Bar Mitzvah.
Oh,